Exactly.
depends on the timing of
I know.
where
And
you
then
are
the
with your-
interest rates went down. So
Oh yeah, I was gonna say because I thought
That
there was gonna be a
helps it.
really. So is it true that right now it's a seller's market?
yes, 100%
Okay,
true.
so it's a seller's market.
This is what's happening.
What does that mean? What's the difference between a
so
seller's and a buyer's market? That's a
Seller's
good question.
market means that you
learning,
list a home. So say
Pat's on
we
the back.
list your house, we price it, accordingly, and we put it on the market. And from Friday to Sunday, we have 12 offers all over asking price. That means it's a seller's market because the sellers are getting crazy amount of money for a house that's probably not really worth that much
Okay.
because there's no inventory. So there's not enough houses for sale right now due
Gotcha.
to COVID because people don't want to list their house.
Mm.
Classic supply and demand.
Yep.
Exactly. So it's a seller's market because there's no inventory. So sellers that are selling, there's a bunch of buyers. There's not enough sellers.
Yeah.
Buyer's market, opposite. There's too much out there. Buyers can, get a better deal.
So what are the different
Oversaturation
ways you
sorts.
can? What are the different ways you can buy a house? Like sometimes you can buy it straight off the market. Like when there's foreclosures, how does that all
So
work?
foreclosures are a little different. There's only certain loan types that are gonna pass for foreclosure homes, and majority of the time investors just get them before anyone else can. So it'll be like an investor that has cash and they'll just go and put a bid on it cash and then
Nice.
win
Okay.
it.
And you can get it from
a lot of bids though. It's not like what people think a foreclosure is, where you go and
To the
like stand
bank.
outside the house or
Okay.
something and bid on it. I have heard of realtors doing that in the
Storage Wars style?
past,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
now it's all online.
Okay.
So there's companies out there that now take the foreclosure homes, put them on their company website like Hubzu or something, and then there's a bunch of fees attached with it. So now you're paying for the price of the home and then all these fees
right.
for
Right.
that foreclosure.
Is it definitely cheaper to buy a foreclosed home?
Um,
Usually, because you buy it from the bank,
if
right?
you're buying a foreclosure, then it also needs a ton of work. So
Yeah,
you
that's the-
have to have like
I'd
a ton
imagine
of
that'd be the
cash
opposite.
Yeah.
to.
So what
to
are some
fix
what are
it.
some buying tips for those of us who are looking to buy a home? Like, is there certain
So,
things we should look for?
Yeah, well, there's certain things you should do before you start house hunting or get pre-approved.
Okay.
Obviously you want to make sure that you're
Proof of credit.
working for 2
Okay.
years.
Yeah. Proof of income for that.
Yes,
for 2
proof
years.
of income for at least 2 years. And then you need to have credit, like a good credit score,
Mhm.
preferably above 640. The higher the better though, because the higher
639. No. I think mine's close to 800.
That's
Over
awesome.
700.
So yeah, you'll
I-
get
I'm a-
like
I'm
an
a cre-
amazing
I'm a-
interest rate.
I'm a debt-free person, by the way.
Me too.
Zero
She's
debt.
special.
Yes, I am very special.
It's because I didn't go to college.
Yes, same. I had my car and I paid my car off, and I'm like, well,
Okay, so
debt-free.
I guess I do because
Brag
I
about it
have
all the
my
time.
Jeep, which
Oh,
definitely
so see,
is
yeah,
not
I had
paid
a
off.
loan that was too big for the car that I have. Come on, but
What do you mean? That's a nice Mercedes you got out there.
Yeah,
Mike. What are you talking about?
it's a Lambo, dude. Come on,
sorry,
no.
sorry.
I paid way too much for that car, but yeah, I was really adamant about getting rid of that because of interest. You know what I mean? You're paying that off. Like definitely, if you're gonna be getting better credit too, I will say, and you said it before, if you're getting better credit through a credit card, pay that off. Credit card interest is awful.
Do you follow Dave Ramsey?
No,
He's like all about debt-free life.
really.
Yeah, I
I'll
just
have to check
actually
him
followed
out.
him on Instagram the other day, and he puts out like a lot of good like motivational quotes and stuff, and like basically like debt-free, like how to live debt-free
Okay.
and why it's so important.
Okay.
But it sucks. Like I feel like so this is what happens. My clients, they make awesome money. Everything's good. They have great credit. They have a great job. And then they think that they can afford this crazy house because, on paper they make this much.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mortgage lender runs all their stuff, finds out they have $70,000 with student loans. Now your debt to income ratio is like way off. So
Okay.
now you can't afford as much as you thought because of that. So that's why
Yeah.
as like little debt as you have.
Most people, in other words, that's called financial cancer. When you don't have, like everybody, I will encourage and I will continue to encourage everybody and anybody to make their own cash flow statement of their own personal. Like I have one for just, rent,
Mm-hmm.
essentially a list that comprises my fixed costs and my variable costs, and then what I can save or
Yeah,
is left
definitely.
over at the. You know what I mean? That's a very simple chart, and your iPhone can do it. Your Android can do it. Any phone, any computer, most computers should come with some type of software that can make a graph for you. It's so.
Some pretty good apps out there.
Oh,
too.
actually, Google
Yeah.
Docs has
Yeah, Google Docs is awesome.
What the hell is it called? Sheets.
Excel sheets.
Sheets. Yeah, Excel sheets.
There's checkbook app too. I think
Sheets.
it's called. My
Sheets.
girlfriend uses it. It works really well as well too.
What
And
is it?
I think it's just called checkbook. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if that isn't the first, if that isn't a firm first step into becoming a little bit more financially intelligent, I don't know what is, because that's kind of really where you're looking at your money and you're understanding cash flow. That is alone is going to help you
The
out big
other
time.
thing is a lot of people come to me and they want to buy a house and everything. And I think it's important to not drain your bank account when you're purchasing a home. So, you obviously want to save. You need your down payment.
Right.
You need money for your inspections. You need money for the appraisal.
And so
There's a bunch of extra little fees that you need. But you want to make sure when you get into the house, like you still have money. Because, unless you're buying a new construction home, like something's
gonna go wrong.
something's bound to go. I bought my house and the hot water tank broke like 2 months later.
no.
I'm a realtor. Like,
How does that happen?
it happens.
well, because I mean, how often are you going to be like
exactly.
on top of
You don't know when something's gonna break. And during inspections, the inspector can be like, "This is great shape."
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, cool. Then you get into the house and it breaks.
Ooh.
What are you
Yeah,
gonna do?
not so
So
great
it's like
shape
you want to
anymore, huh?
have
Yeah.
a good cushion.
Yes, and yes. So that would be then going back to just making sure you know what's going out versus what's coming in, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that kind of happens? They don't know that mortgage ends up being as large as it is.
The
Based
other
off
thing,
of,
the issue is you go on Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia and all those great websites that show all the homes that are on the market, which I have a love-hate relationship with all of them.
which ones? Where?
Like Zillow,
Zillow, yeah,
Realtor.com, Trulia.
Yeah.
And then they give you this mortgage estimate. And I'm like, where are they getting this number? That is the most
I always wonder that
inaccurate
too.
mortgage
Okay.
estimate ever.
That's good to know. That's
It'll be
really
like,
good to know.
this $250,000 house, your mortgage is only $800.
Yeah, it's like, what credit score are you using this against?
No,
Like,
so then if you actually click on it, first of all, it's doing it with 20% down payment. Okay.
So that's just an
So
automatic.
that's off the top. They're doing
just-
it with 20% down,
Okay.
which I think
Who
like
pays
how
that
often
much?
does that
I
happen?
would say 10% of my clients do 20% down.
Yeah.
Like it's very rare that people do
And
20% down.
Understand too, if you're in the financial position to be able to put 20% a lot. You know what I mean? If you're buying a house for, in other
It
words,
is a lot.
yeah, it's like so if your house is $200,000, and that's not a very big house at all, right? I mean, that's still 40 grand.
Yeah.
So if you taking that into account and compare your interest rate versus how fast the market grows, back into understanding the stock market, the S&P on average grows to 8 to 10% a year interest.
Yeah.
So if you can get away with putting down as little as possible, to put down a lump sum that big into a house might not be advantageous.
No, so I always thought prior to a client I had that, putting the most down is the smartest move. This is
You think
definitely
so?
opinion only. Hold on, let me
Okay.
finish. Opinion only. So my client was buying massive house, very expensive. And he told me before he's bought and sold a bunch of houses. And one time he put, I don't know, $120,000 down payment on a
Wow.
house. And then the market crashed and he never got that money back because then he
Shit.
sold the house and it wasn't worth what it was.
Yeah.
So he put in $120,000 that he never got back. So now he was like a Navy guy, so he can do the 0%
Wait,
down
where
too.
did he put the money?
Into his loan.
Okay.
So say he was buying a
And the housing market
$500,000
crashed.
house.
Okay.
And then he put $120,000 down payment. So then he
Oh.
only paid $480 for the house
Uh-huh.
or whatever, $380. I can't do math.
You
Edit
can
this
do that.
out.
That sounds better math than what I can do. So
This
I'm
is
gonna
raw. I can't go through all of it. It's okay. We'll forgive you this time.
Okay, thank you.
It's a one strike rule in this podcast.
But basically, and then the market crashed and like the value of his home dropped, but then he put the 120 into it, so he could never sell it back
Wow.
for what it was.
And the market never bounced back to that height
Not in the time span when
that
he was
wanted.
leaving.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because the only time you lose is when you sell, folks. That's another thing to understand, especially about investing in any sense. Like if he still had the house now,
It would be
unfortunately,
fine. Yes, exactly.
that wasn't in his cards. But
the statistics say that average first-time home buyers stay in a home for 7 years.
okay, so there you go. You compound. Say you were putting down $40K, and you could have got away with putting down $5, and you put down $35K into the S&P. Average of 8 to 10 per year times by 7.
You already lost me.
That's a
after the
massive
couple of
I
compound.
have
though.
no idea what you're talking
Well,
about.
Yeah, you lost me after the first couple numbers.
it's just an investment
It's a lot
strategy.
of
So
math.
so I'll try to, in case I did lose anybody there.
You
so
lost
say
us all.
we'll just say as a blank statement, you have $35,000 you can put into the S&P, which
What's
is
the
just
S&P?
so it's just the S&P 500 is a compilation of the largest 500 companies in America.
Oh, okay, got it.
So it's just it's an ETF. It's an electronic trade fund. So it's a stock that's made up a bunch of other stocks. Like Nasdaq has its own select, and I think the Dow has its own as well. Though the S&P is extremely productive in contrast to the rest of them. And when you put money into it, obviously when you put on money, investing in it yields you 8 to 10% growth per year. Right? So if you, in other words, had $100 and then in a year it grew 8%, you have $108, and then that keeps growing up by 8 to 10% by 7 years. And that's why it's so important to have like a Roth IRA, because Roth IRA is free, tax-free, or pre-tax dollar, and then when you take the money out, it's no taxes. And
I know, I was just with one of my friends in Vermont, and she's like a financial advisor.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a group of 6 of us. And she just kept telling us that we all need Roth IRAs.
Yes.
And none of us have any.
Roth IRAs are super important. So there's this really old-fashioned idea of having a what the hell's the other one?
401k.
401k.
That's what I have for my company.
Yeah, most companies
yeah, but that's
offer
more a
it.
company thing. My boyfriend
Yeah.
has 401k.
It's more of a company. But the problem is
That's super smart as well if you can get it.
with a 401k is that once you take the money out, it's taxed. So the difference is where the money you invested in total into an IRA, even though there is a cap, you can only invest so much. I think it's like $6,000 a year. Is that when you take that money out, it could be in the millions depending on how ambitious you are and how much you're investing. Now, you take out a percentage, whatever income tax is, 10, 20, 30%. That's a lot of money from a million.
Yeah, I've had clients
That's what
take
happens
out
to a
money take out money out of the 401k.
Well, that's the problem with it, and like that's maybe
But you can
where the
move your
difference-
401k too.
Oh, you can.
an
And I did
IRA.
that
if
one
you like
time.
move
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah, I did that when I moved from
it's a
Best Buy.
really
to
So
smart-
real
fucking with now.
estate, like as a realtor, like I don't
Yeah.
have any type of
Oh,
retirement.
you set one up. I have
I
my
know,
own.
I
I have
need
my
to.
personal one. It's really easy.
Oh, yeah,
I go
you're the
through
same.
Vanguard. Yeah. You just go through Vanguard and you can just
I'm
set
just
up
gonna
your
wing
thing.
it.
You could wing it. You could wing it, but again,
That works.
you have to ask yourself.
I'm kidding.
You have
I'm
to ask
kidding.
yourself like super simple questions. Well, some people might not. They're like, that's too much, dude. It's honestly just as easy to set up a Roth IRA as it is any bank account, and it's free money. If you're putting money into it, like I said, super simple. Invest into.
See, I have
S&P.
commitment issues where can't like once you put it in,
Yeah.
how long can you
Can't take it out till you're like 55.
Yeah.
But
See,
it's
don't
it's
like that.
good to invest like that
Yeah.
though. I
what
like
if
that.
I need it?
Well, it's
It's not meant to
Here's
be
the
something you
thing.
need.
Here's the thing.
It's not
Yeah.
meant to be.
The
he
last
says.
thing you want, though, the last thing you want, because so in that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, a really big learning curve, a really big thing that I learned is the difference between an asset and a liability. So what an asset is something that makes you money, and what a liability is something that costs you money. So most things cost you money,
Yes.
and in that equation, typically cash standalone is a liability because 3% inflation per year. If you have $100 in your bank, at the end of the year, it's worth $97.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be.
And most
$100.
people don't have $100. It's thousands of dollars. You
Oh.
lose tons of money if it's not invested. There's literally almost no point. In other words, besides having a cushion that might be able to provide you with paying off your passive and variable expenses.
See, this is my
For a
issue
couple
with
months, you
putting
wanna
my
make sure
money
you're-
into something where I can't get it till I'm 55. What if I
Well, you
don't
can-
live till I'm 55?
Well, you
with
won't worry
those-
about it then. You'll be dead.
But like then I just couldn't use it for all that
No,
time.
you can.
Well, what
if
would
I'm
you
not
use it on
mistaken-
anyway? Or what would you spend your money on anyways?
I don't know. Whatever. What if I needed it?
If I'm not mistaken, you can with those. You can still take them out. You just
Yeah,
get penalized. If
you
you
get
take 'em out.
penalized.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you
You
can
get
take it out.
taxed
Yeah, it's not like you can't.
It's not
take it out.
forever. You
Yeah.
can't take it out.
No.
Yeah,
Alright.
and it's still. I think it's like 53.5.
Yeah,
too,
because
to
it's.
be honest.
I think my
That's just-
401k is something like that.
It
Yeah,
might
you
be,
can take
Yeah.
401. Yeah.
but it's so. It's I talked your ear about it about
You
it when I
always do.
saw you for the
I know.
first time because it's just such
You
a
got me
huge
investing now,
revelation.
thanks to
Well,
you.
it's so obvious, and it's a little tough at first to kind of navigate how the market works and what you want to spend your money in. And at first, you have ideas of something. Oh, this is going to be a great stock to invest in. But I can tell you right now, it's pretty damn simple. I mean, think about what you have. You have an iPhone, right? How much Apple stock do you own?
0.
How many Apple things do you have?
A lot.
So like I make sure I have more Apple stock than I do Apple things because I like the product and I believe in that company's going to excel. You know what I mean? That company standalone is already $1 trillion company and I think the first company in history to be $1 trillion company. And
Sounds right.
yeah, and they've just been growing. And
Maybe
there's
Amazon.
Tesla, Amazon's a good, but Amazon's like $2,600 a stock. You could even check that for me, Deo, if you want.
Gotcha.
But imagine.
Remember
you know
when
what I mean?
Amazon was just a website for books?
I know. What happened? I don't even remember when
I
it
don't
just
know
all
when
of a sudden.
it changed.
You know what I don't know either is when Netflix came by storm. I feel like
I
it
remember
was just
being like 13 watching Netflix and watching the weirdest foreign scary movies.
yeah. Well, I remember
yeah.
I had Netflix back when you had to get wait
The
for the
DVDs.
CDs
Oh,
in
yeah.
the mail,
Yes,
the DVDs in the mail.
Mhm.
You are right, by the way. Apple was the first company to hit $1 trillion cap.
Yep.
2018.
Yep. So you follow along with
then
these
by-
things. You probably hear about them, like you know as much. You know, even though you say you don't know much about the stock market, you know Amazon's a good company. You know
I
Apple's a
think
good company.
everyone knows that.
Exactly. But does everybody invest in it?